Hello and welcome. This video screencast is intended for all coaches, players, and families in the Rocky Mountain Girls Fast Pitch Association, Colorado American Freedom, and Havoc teams. It's less than 10 minutes of your time toward the shared goal of a great softball season. This is Safe Softball, and it is required viewing annually for everyone in our organization. Throughout this presentation, I will read some of the slides word for word, and some I'll leave to you, like this one, the audience, to read on your own. Overall, this slide deck is low-tech, yet we believe the content is critical to our organization's success towards this mission. We believe culture and team environment are paramount to providing the right opportunities for our young athletes. This includes on this list things we want to do and things we must prevent. This is travel softball. We compete at a high level. Our philosophy of competition is informed by the Positive Coaching Alliance. PositiveCoach.org is an amazing resource, and everyone should spend some time at their website. Minimally, there are 3 articles from PCA that are required reading. One is for coaches, one is for parents, one for athletes. These articles, which should be attached in your email, are things you should print and review and return to throughout your season. If you look at the bullet points on this slide, they speak to the idea that we want umpires, opponents, and opposing fans to see our teams as examples of class, integrity, and sportsmanship. We don't want to be that team or those fans. This slide largely speaks for itself, and it falls into the category of easier said than done. Our emotions and competitive instincts can cause us to lose focus. We have to maintain the same commitment to building a positive culture in all parts of our seasons. Part of that focus, fundamental to safe softball, is a focus on preventing abuse. Emotional abuse involves a pattern of deliberate non-contact behavior that has the potential to cause emotional or psychological harm to the participant. These acts may include physical acts, verbal acts, or acts that deny attention or support. Emotional abuse does not include generally accepted and age-appropriate coaching methods of skill enhancement, physical conditioning, motivation, team building, appropriate discipline, or improving athletic performance. Examples of emotional abuse include, without limitation, the following. Please review these yourself. Emotional abuse should never be overlooked or considered less dangerous than physical. Bullying is one aspect and a real threat to any team culture. It's about repeated acts that are intended to exclude, diminish, or isolate. Sexual abuse and the related statistics are real and very depressing. Yet we talk about it because we don't want our organization and our athletes to be part of these statistics. This includes naming and identifying grooming behaviors. No adult in a position of authority should be isolating, controlling, or secretive. As uncomfortable as it may be to think about abuse, there are clear practical steps as an organization we can take to prevent it. Namely, not having unneeded, isolated one-on-one interactions. Yes, there are examples in which older players in particular may text directly with a coach. However, the overwhelming majority of interactions and communications should be in group formats. A phrase we've probably all heard, if you see something, say something, applies here. Especially if you have reason to believe a child is a victim, call law enforcement. We've talked about prevention. Let's switch and talk about building and enhancing positive culture. Athletes, this is for you. We can't say enough about the importance of putting your team and your teammates first. Softball is tricky in that it's a very individual sport within a team context. Softball is a sport in which there's a lot of failure and a lot of highs and lows. Putting your focus on your team can reduce the pain of the lows and increase the joys of the highs. And a little trick. Focusing on your team helps take the pressure off yourself and your own performance. The more you focus on your team and their success, the better you perform as an individual. The stuff we do both on the field and off the field adds or subtracts from team culture. As you read these 2 bullet points, you'll notice that they speak to being inclusive. We all know clicks can ruin a team. Please also review these important points about social media, families and athletes. Another way to think about social media. If the thing you're about to type is something that you wouldn't want printed out and handed to everyone in your team, parents and families, and players, then you probably shouldn't type it. During games, in the heat of competition, it's easy to bark. We've all done it. When a player makes a mistake, don't bark right after the mistake. No one feels worse about a mistake than the player who made it. Barking doesn't make it better. The play is over. There's a difference between barking and calmly teaching what to do differently next time to improve in the right teachable moment. A last slide about team culture. Celebrate your accomplishments. Our teams work really, really hard. We have to celebrate and praise effort above all else. Take time to enjoy when things go well. Celebrate improvements as individuals and teams. We can't always control outcomes, but we can celebrate growth. Finally, and maybe the most important slide of all, communication. Communication is critical, especially when there are questions or concerns within a team. This goes for players and for parents. Unless it's criminal, use the 24-hour rule. Wait, reflect, then reach out to the coach directly. Players and parents always start with questions and concerns. Open-ended sentence stems. Can you help me understand? I'm worried about. Can you tell me why? If we come and we have open-ended questions, that invites dialogue. Coaches then can be open to parent and player concerns. It's better to have this dialogue in the front door than the back door through gossip or concerns that have festered over time. We may not always agree, but we strive to be good communicators. Lastly, if you're unsatisfied with the responses from a coach, you can reach out to an RMGFA board member of your choosing. Thank you for giving your time and attention to this presentation. Focus on the right things. Remember that softball is a sport that we love dearly, and it's supposed to be fun. Families, you should have received a follow-up Google form quiz. One parent or guardian for each player needs to complete the quiz. If you have questions, ask your team coach. Everyone, hope you have a great season.